Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering there were only 1,280 humans left alive. Not in your country, not on your continent, on the entire planet. Every city would be empty. Every road would be silent. Every airport would stop. Humanity would be hanging by a thread. As impossible as that sounds, scientists believe something remarkably similar may have happened around 900,000 years ago. If they're right, every person alive today exists because a tiny group of survivors refused to disappear. For most of human history, there weren't billions of us. There weren't millions. There weren't even thousands. There were small bands of humans, scattered across enormous landscapes. They hunted together, traveled together, and survived together. Every day was uncertain. Every meal had to be earned. Every mistake could be fatal. Life wasn't comfortable. It was survival, from sunrise until sunset. Then, the world began to change. The climate became colder, much colder. Ancient forests shrank. Grasslands disappeared. Rainfall changed. Food became harder to find. Animals migrated. Some vanished completely. The places humans had depended on for generations stopped providing enough to survive. Imagine searching all day, only to find nothing. No fruit, no roots, no animals. Children growing weaker. Parents making impossible choices. Entire groups forced to leave the only home they'd ever known. But where do you go when everywhere is changing? Many didn't survive. Some starved. Some froze. Others fell to predators. Disease spread more easily among weakened groups. Small populations became even smaller. One unlucky season could erase an entire family line forever. For decades, scientists knew something strange had happened. Human DNA contained an unusual clue. Compared to many animals, humans are surprisingly similar to one another, far more similar than we should be. It was almost as if, at some point, our entire species had passed through an incredibly narrow bottleneck. But nobody knew exactly when or why. Then, in 2023, an international team of researchers published a study that reignited the mystery. Using genetic data from thousands of modern people, they developed a model suggesting our ancestors may have fallen to around 1,280 breeding individuals. Not billions, not millions, around 1,000, for roughly 117,000 years. If those estimates are accurate, humanity came astonishingly close to disappearing forever. Think about that for a moment. Every language ever spoken, every empire ever built, every invention, every piece of music, every scientific discovery, every person you've ever loved could have vanished before any of it even began. All because one small population managed to survive. But how? How do so few people avoid extinction? The answer wasn't strength. It was cooperation. Humans shared food. They protected children. They cared for injured members of their group. They passed knowledge from one generation to the next. Where dangerous winters killed isolated individuals, communities gave each other a chance. Survival became something humans did together. Over thousands of years, the climate slowly became more stable. Plants returned. Animals spread into new regions. Human populations began growing again. Small groups became larger groups. Larger groups became tribes. Tribes became villages. Villages became civilizations. The bottleneck slowly faded into history, but it never disappeared completely. It remained, hidden inside our DNA. Today, there are more than 8 billion humans on Earth. We build skyscrapers, launch satellites, walk on the moon, speak instantly across continents. Yet every one of us can trace our story back to one incredibly fragile chapter, a time when humanity almost became a forgotten experiment of evolution. So the next time you stand in a crowded city, remember this. Every stranger around you, every family, every child, every future generation exists because a remarkably small number of humans survived against impossible odds. The greatest miracle in human history may not be that we became the dominant species on Earth. It may be that we survived long enough to have the chance